Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to part 2 of fan modeling course. So in last part we set up our interface and downloaded all the add-ons as well as we prepared and gathered references. So by now you should have Blender file ready to go. Blender itself ready to go, interface, and then you should have some files. So let's get into this. Okay, so I actually personally prefer using puref for references. If you want, you can use that as well. I can actually show you where to get it. It's absolutely free add-on actually. So if you just type in download puref like this, download, and then here it might be a little bit tricky, but it is actually free. Here you can just press custom amount and type in 0, and that's it. Download. It's actually free if you want support the creator, and that's it. You just download it and then you just drag and drop images from anywhere, and yeah, that's basically it. That's how you use it. And also you have different modes. If you right click, it's very simple, not complicated at all. You got images, some stuff here that you can do with images. It's straightforward. It does what it says, align, all that stuff. And then particularly useful things are these two. So if you take some images, you can right click, go into images, and then you actually have this arrange by name, by additional, optimal. So you can just do this optimal. This kind of sorts everything into a box, and then you can actually do the same one with normalize and then scale as well, or size. Those are two useful things as well. And the third one is this. So you can make a transparent mouse overlay section always on top and always on bottom. I usually have this always on top. If you want, you can minimize it by just pressing on it, then it will minimize. But okay, so let's get started. I'll show you how I sometimes set up my references. Also, before we start, let's just go ahead and create some folder. Just call it fan modeling or something like that for fan modeling course. Save your puref file in here and then just create new file, call it saves. We're going to store here all the saves, our Blender saves basically. So let's go. Let's just open up Blender. So I'm using Blender 3.5.0. You can use any version pretty much, that's about 2.8. It will be fine. There we go. Let me just snap it to the screen. Here we go. So yeah, boom. We have our scene right here, and before we start, actually, let's use our power save and go ahead and click first file, save as, and then select your location for fan modeling, and then saves folder. It's the one which we just saved. In my case, I saved it on my desktop, and just basically call it fan or something like that. So boom, save as, and now this icon turns green. It means it's saved. Once you move or do something, it's going to turn back to being without color, but don't worry about it. This just means that it hasn't saved. So, but that's fine. And then basically this, just click autosave, select interval, the amount of minutes between each autosave. That's fine. I just like to make it into autosave suffix and then just yeah, this to 1. And now it's going to save. So hit this just in case once. And now right here into this inside of this folder, actually not this one, inside of this one, saves here, it's going to automatically save your Blender every 2 minutes, and then also it's going to have one temporary file, and here it will add suffix. So basically this means that if you just click this, it's going to add this 01, 02, and so on. So that's that. Now we made sure that if we get some crash or something, we still have our files. The other way to recover our files would be to just go into file, recover, and then autosave, and Blender autosaves here some files as well. So that's just in case. So we have two resources, because you don't want to lose your progress. Never, basically. You want it to be always there, all the progress that you make. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so there we go. So let's get started with the base, like I said, and we're going to start with this shape. So yeah, so first of all, let's see what kind of shape, how do we approach this? In my opinion, just let's go and get a cylinder, or actually it's even better to get a sphere, because we'll get the most of the top part, and then extrude this to the bottom, and then subdivide the sphere, and then let's do all the boolean stuff after that. Because always remember, first you should use subdivision, subdivide it, then apply it, and then use booleans, and only then cut details such as this right here, and then this line right here. So let's go. Like I said, let's just add actually let's add quad sphere. If you don't have this option here for some reason, I mean, if you set up your add-ons you should see it, but just in case you don't see it, just add a cube, and then you can press Ctrl and 2 to subdivide it. And actually in our case, let's just add let's see, three, maybe 3 subdivisions right here will be fine. So just 3 subdivisions. That shortcut, basically Control and 2, add subdivision surface modifier with 2 subdivisions. So you could have just pressed Control 3, boom, and then just apply. It doesn't matter that render is set to 2, that's fine, as long as viewport is set to 3. Just apply this to get this geometry. Go into this view, and by the way, I'm snapping to different views like this by holding Alt on my keyboard and then middle mouse clicking and then moving my mouse. Or you can just do it by pressing in here on these axes. And now just go ahead and enable this. The shortcut for this is Alt Z to enable X-ray. All that does is basically, if I try select this, so make sure that you have this tool selected, select box, in the T menu, and if I try selecting it like this, it selects only half. And with X-ray, so enable it with the shortcut Alt Z, and then I select it. Now it selects the whole way through the mesh like this. Also, we can snap to different views by pressing on your number pad 1, 3, 7, and then 9 flips. So if I press 1 and then press 9, it will flip to the back of the front view. Okay, so like I said, and now just delete this. Go ahead and select the whole thing right now, or just actually go into object mode, scale everything down on Z axis like this, and we're trying to get this kind of shape right here. Yep, and then let's extrude this bottom part like that. So let's just go horizontal and go into edge selection mode, hold Alt, click on this, E to extrude, and then Z to go down, and just go down a little bit like this. Maybe it's a little bit longer, something like this. But now you see that's a problem. We need to reshape this a little bit, because if, let me just find the view right, not really. You can't really see that well in here. Okay, here we go. So the profile, basically, if you just concentrate on this side, it goes up like this, absolutely straight, and then it has a slight curve like that, very slight curve. In our case, it goes up in here, you see, boom, and then here we have this very round shape right here, even though we should have it almost straight like that. So you could just play with this tool right here, proportional editing, and that's what we're going to do. So just select the center on the top right here. You can just select these 4 faces or this vertex in the center, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we can just select these 4 faces like this. And now enable proportional editing. And okay, so the bottom deforms. We don't want this bottom to deform, so just go ahead and hold Alt, click on this, Alt, click this, and just H to hide these. So right now we will deform the top and the bottom won't change its position. So just GZ, and all I'm trying to do right now is basically something like this. So right now I'm using my mouse scroll wheel to just limit the reach, how far this tool reaches, and then I'm using my mouse to go up and down. So in our case we want something like this, just go a lot like up, because this profile now it's kind of good right now in our case, but then let's just go into object mode and SZ to scale it down like this, you see. And then let's just go into edit mode, unhide the bottom, select the bottom part, GZ, disable proportional editing, GZ, because this got smaller, so just like this, boom. And then actually we don't even need this one, so just alt select this and then click Control X to dissolve this one. And boom. So right now if you look at this, now we have this edge goes straight up and then slight curve like this, exactly like in here, boom. And then just up and then slight curve. Maybe this should go a little bit more down, something like this. You don't need to fiddle around here too much. For game assets, it's mostly about being kinda accurate, but not really focusing on that. It's more about the speed. That's why I value all the add-ons so much. So yeah, just speed is what matters. So you don't need to be 100% right, because you should always be thinking how close the player is going to be to the camera, how much detail do I need to put it, where the asset will be used. In our case, this will just be stationary animated asset. It won't be bent, stretched, or anything like that. It's not like a skin or something like that where we need good topology as well. So we just need good enough topology so that our shading doesn't break. So the shading has to be good. And yeah, shading matters. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, because if this is the base of the fan and if the player can crouch, let's say, in the game, then I mean the closest you're going to get to it is something like this far. If it's not going to be in some menus, this item, and if it's going to be in menus, if the player is going to be able to zoom it, then yeah, you need better quality. But if this is just a prop, I mean the player is going to see it from this distance. You don't need perfect shading for that, for sure. So yeah. Okay, so let's continue. And right now, if we just look at references again, let me just see here. Yeah, here we go. So actually this center is offset. It's not here, the highest part is not here, it's offset to the front. So that's what we need to do. So let's just go ahead and take this part. Actually, let's just bring this one vertex a little bit up, just to create that smoother surface right here. And now just G. Okay, so enable proportional editing, G, and then just Y or X, it depends on which view you're in. And now just scroll your mouse wheel to affect more or less. In our case, this is fine, because this would be fine here, but it's not really, because we want this edge right here to be perfectly straight as well as this one. But if we just move it like this, increase it like this, it moves a little bit to the left right now. So it's just better to hide this again, and then just go select the top. Maybe let's just select these four again, GY, and just offset this to the center a little bit more. You can try playing with different options in here, maybe with sphere, something like this, but it doesn't really work in our case. So let's just keep it smooth and just G, and in our case it is X, and just move it a little bit like this to the front, because we need to offset this. So something like that. Boom. Now let's just Alt H to unhide this part, and this is almost good, but right now this profile here, it kind of collapsed. We need to have here a nice smooth curve right here. In this case it's almost just inside, so we need to edit this a little bit. So just Alt and select this one, and then just S to scale it. Actually, just disable proportional editing. Just S to scale it and then Shift Z. So what that does is basically going to S and Shift Z is going to basically scale it in every direction except Z axis. So like this, S. So that's what's happening. It's scaling it in Y direction and in X direction, but it's not scaling it in Z. So yeah, so just S and Shift Z. It's basically excluding Shift Z, and just make it a little bit like this, just towards. Do the same thing with this one, just a little bit like that. And then for this one, we'll need to select this kind of manually like that. I was holding there Shift and Alt to select different ones, and then S, Shift Z again, boom, like this, maybe a little bit higher, and then this a little bit higher again, boom. Okay, there we go. So now it's more or less the same right now, and also we're working in big polygons like this, but we actually need to subdivide it right now because because we will be making high poly first, and then we'll be baking all the shading, good shading to low poly, and we'll be creating a normal map. So right now we need good shading, and if you're using booleans as well as subdivision surface, you usually need to go higher in polygon count at first, but later when you're optimizing, then you can just optimize everything just a lot, like with any regular different workflow. Okay, so there we go. So right now this shape is kind of the same right now. We can actually give it subdivision surface modifier as well. Now I'm thinking that this will be way smoother, so maybe we shouldn't add it, but let's just see it. Let's just see. Let's just add this, and then what we can actually do is here, this one, you can just go ahead and maybe even just bevel it like this. Just go ahead and select this, Control B to bevel, and just mouse wheel up, scroll it up to create this kind of shape right here. And boom. And yeah, that works. Now actually I'm thinking that this should be a little bit more in. So you gotta be quite careful when you're working with high poly, because that's, so first we're working in steps. So right now we're making it, we're taking the low poly mesh and we're just defining the general shape of the object. Later we will be adding more detail. Okay, so this maybe something like that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's fine. Actually, let's just apply this, and it's this dense right now, which is fine. You don't need to reduce the denseness. That's actually fine. Okay, so now the hardest part right now. How do you combine subdivision with booleans? Because we want to make this cut in here. A lot of people get confused here. That's why they're scared to learn Boolean workflow. But here we go. So first of all, you will have to model, and don't expect to just go ahead and just learn everything right now. You'll need to practice. There is no way around it, because there are a lot of errors and different types of issues that you need to fix. And I'm going to cover most of them, but in this course, but there might be some other ones that we won't cover. But I mean, you'll be able to model anything basically after this course. Okay, so this part right here. So first of all, make sure that the whole model is watertight. So just cap this hole. Just select it and press F to cap it. So now you can just go ahead and use Hardop's box cutter, cut everything inside of it. Then make sure that, so this is a very complex cut. That's what I can tell you. This is as complicated as it gets. Cutting into round surfaces like this. So it's round in all the axes, in Y axis, in Z axis, in X axis, it's just a curved surface like this as well as like this, so that's very difficult. If you're cutting into plane, like straight surfaces, flat surfaces, then you won't get any errors pretty much. But when you're cutting into curved surfaces like this, then it's difficult. So let's go. So right now, make sure that this is dense. So if you got cut which is going to be inside of this dense mesh, just I mean in a mesh which is curved like this, make sure that first you got density. Just make sure that it's quite dense. In our case, it is quite dense right now. Actually, yeah, it is quite dense. So that's that. Now let's just enable box cutter. So I'll double it, enable it, then D, this menu, and then make sure that you're in box cutting mode and like this. So right now this cut is something like this. I believe that it's just a straight cut. Let me see. Maybe I can find a better reference. Okay, so it's just a straight cut and then it kind of goes up. So maybe we should use then this one, this tool. So just cut in straight like this. Just make sure that you select the mesh, cut in straight like that. And then just go ahead and exit like this. Not fully straight like that, but something like this. And then just this, and you can press enter or just spam your left mouse button to just cut this. So if you're not using box cutter or hard ops, then you just need to manually go ahead and add a cube like this. Just scale it like that, position it right here, and then go into edit mode, and then kind of just select this at the bottom, misplace that, and just kind of put it in here, and then you select this mesh and then that mesh, and you press so like this. Let me just do it to scale it in here, like that, and then you just select this mesh and this, and you press control minus like this. So that's the difference boolean. So this is the free add-on, one of the add-ons which we enabled, and you can even do without this add-on. You can just all this add-on does is just adds a boolean modifier with a fast method and just difference. That's all there is. It's just a modifier, but it's way faster. Okay, so let's just go back to the other cut, to this one. It was more accurate, that's why I'm keeping it. And now actually, you actually do need to subdivide your cutter as well. A lot of people miss this step. So just locate your cutter. I'm going to use hard ops menu. If you want, you can just unhide it and edit it from here. I just select this mesh, press Q, ever scroll, find the cutter which I want, enable it, edit mode, boom, right here. And then actually give it a lot of subdivisions like this. Before we do that, maybe we do need a small bevel in here though. So just select this and just bevel it with like, I don't know, one segment, something like this. And yeah, and now just add a lot of subdivisions in here. Try to keep similar density to this. You don't have to be very accurate, just kind of similar density. And then in this direction, don't forget that you need to add loop cuts in this direction as well. And yeah, so now we have this similar grid actually to this one. So if you just enable wireframe, it's kind more or less similar grid. It's not fully perfect, don't worry about it. Just make it kind of the same, similar. So boom. So now our cutter is actually properly subdivided. If you want, there is actually even an operation as well. If I just go back, let me just go back here. So we bevel this. There is actually operation. If I can find it. So operation, it's hard ops, mesh tools. There was a dice. Here we go, dice v2. So right here, if you hold on it, so it says left mouse button, dice on left, use axes. So it's just going to create a lot of subdivisions. So dice active from selection, and then dice on all axes, and then alt left mouse button smart apply dice. apply select modifier. So in this case, we want to hold Control and click left mouse button, dice on all axes. So just Control and left mouse button, boom. And then you just scroll, increase subdivisions with your mouse wheel, and you'll get this. So you can just go ahead and select similar density and just boom, done. See? Just, I mean, how good is this? It's a very useful thing right here. But in our case, what happens basically is this. It creates here a weird looking, let me show you, here. So we had the bevels right here running, right? And after we added this dice modifier, we got some uneven squares. So this won't work in this case, you see? So in that case, we can just go ahead and dice it in few axes, not all axes, but I mean, again, it's just a preference thing. In this case, if you have this mesh bevel, just go ahead and just kind of manually add some subdivisions. It's fine. So like this, just don't forget all the axes. In our case, we don't need anything in here. Actually, we don't need to subdivide this one again, because it's not touching the geometry right here. It's not touching any geometry. So just make sure that we have this grid pattern on the areas where it's touching the geometry. So in our case, this is fine. Boom. So I'm just pressing 1 here. On my, not on my number pad, the other one next to escape button, and this just basically hides the cutters, and it leaves the upper collection enabled. So here we go. So now we got this, we almost got this shape. So let's continue working on this here. Yeah, so right now it's almost good, but we need one more thing. So right now this is very sharp. We need to run bevel modifier to make this smoother. So just select it and then bevel. Boom. But now that's where the fun starts. So we just bevel it and we get errors. First things first. So right now we got here overlapping bevels. So what is happening is this. So if I just go ahead and find this cutter, enable it, or actually just here. Let me show a wireframe in here. Boom. So this is what's happening. You see, that's geometry without this bevel, and that's with the bevel. So the bevel is actually these edges here, newly created edges from this bevel, they start intersecting like this, see? So right now, so let me just show it to you here. So this small of a bevel is fine, and watch this edge right here, the one which goes up, and then this bottom one. Watch how the top one is going to cross this one. And then what happens is basically you get flipped faces. That's why we see red here. Look at this. Oh, like this. Boom. You see? Almost crossing it. Boom. Now it's crossing it. And this is going to create a huge error. Shading error. We need to fix that. How do we fix that? It's pretty straightforward. We can just go ahead and delete one of these edges. So we want to preserve the bevel edge, but we want to delete the bottom one, the bottom edge. So to do that, unfortunately, we are going to need to apply this boolean. Not the bevel. The bevel stays there. The boolean is what we need to apply. So now I just noticed that actually the bevel is not picking up this edge. It's not picking everything up. So we want this bevel to pick up everything around like this in here. And right now we're saying this, hey, Blender, go ahead and add additional bevels of 3 segments, this amount, and limit method is set to angle. So add all of this only to edges which are above 30 degrees. You see? And now, so if we decrease that, look, it's going to pick this up. If we just decrease this, look, watch. Boom. It picked this up. Also, this was picked up. So in this case, we don't really want this one. You remember? You see? We want this to be kind of smooth, but we do want this to be sharp. But those two, this edge angle and this one, they are very similar. So let's just try and get it. Maybe we can get this to be beveled, but this to stay not beveled. By the way, I'm viewing all the geometry with this viewport, so just Alt V and then wireframe. You can enable and disable all of that stuff in here also. That's just a shortcut in here. This is just a shortcut. So let's just see, can we just actually make this not beveled and then this beveled? And notice that you might ask me, like, why don't we just take the geometry and then bevel it ourselves with Control B? So this is modifier. This is very flexible. You can easily tweak it later. But if we just do something like hard-coded bevel, we won't be able to change it later. That's why we're using modifiers, and they give us really high flexibility. So like I said, can we actually make that to happen? Can we bevel this without beveling this? And I think I saw that we cannot. Boom. Okay, yeah, so first it picks this angle up first and then only this one. So we got multiple fixes for this one. Try to guess those. So first one is quite obvious. You can just go ahead and lower the angle of this, so it's not, so lower the angle of this edge right here, of this edge, how it goes, this one, so it's not picking up. Or the second solution, limit method. You see, we got limit method. We can actually set this to weight. Now all of a sudden everything disappears. Now Blender is going to look at it and say, okay, we're going to need to bevel only areas which are selected and which have weight. In this case, nothing has weight, so nothing is beveled. So let's just cover both of those methods. And you can, sometimes you might want to preserve this edge, and you might not want to move this one a little bit up to preserve this nice curvature. In that case, just use weight. And so that's basically, I'm explaining you when to pick which one. And then if you want to just go ahead and so if you if you go with weight, and then you'll need to keep on selecting which edges has to be sharp when you're modeling, and that can be tedious process because you'll need to do a lot of additional work. So usually, if you can, avoid weighted normals and just go with angle. In our case, I can demonstrate both to you. So if you do want to use weight, just go ahead and yeah, you just go ahead and use it. Select this, and then you do need to sadly apply the cutter, because if you go into edge mode, we don't have access to these edges, you see, to these ones, to this one. We don't have access to this one right here. Okay, box cutter is just cutting. I'll just press double it to disable it for now. So you just need to apply it. So you can just go ahead and apply this boolean through here, or you can just use hard ops and just go ahead and click Q and then just hold control and click on sharpen. Boom. So now we have this. And actually, let's see here. Okay, so basically hard ops automatically not only added that modifier, it also selected sharp edges. But again, they were selected based on angle, because Blender automatically selected that. Also, I'm explaining a lot to you. It's difficult to understand, but through practice, you'll understand this. So just click Control and tilde. The tilde button is just below the escape button. and just go into workflow, nope, into here, sharpening and shading. So that's what happened. So when I clicked Q and okay, when I clicked in object mode Q and control sharpen, notice that control sharpen is basically left clicking it with control held. It sharpens everything and applies modifiers. So this sharpen function, what it does here, so this is what it does: sharpen, C#, make defaults, mark defaults. So it will add a crease, it will add a bevel weight, and it will sharpen this. We can go ahead and explore all of these options as well. So crease, actually, to be honest, keep the crease off all the time. I'm just going to say it straight to you. Just disable it. You don't need it. Bevel weight. This is what actually controls our this weight in this bevel. So yeah, and then sharp, it's basically another way of sharpening something. It's going to basically say okay, what? Let me just bring this menu. It's going to just basically say that Blender, don't even bother and just keep everything flat. Don't even try to smooth anything. Just keep everything sharp. And I personally rarely use this as well. So usually you just need bevel weight right here, and then Blender, here you can tell Blender where to add the bevel weight. So right now, again, it's 30 degrees. So Blender will add it on edges which are 30 degrees. So if we set this to something like 20, and then just let's hit OK. Right now, it's going to look at edges which are about 20 degrees. But right now, this is not real time like the modifier. You need to press Q and sharpen it again, control sharpen it. Okay, so now after this recalculation, Blender saw that this edge is above 20 degrees as well as this one. But again, this doesn't work for us. So in our case right here, you would actually need to just disable it even and click OK, and then go ahead and do everything manually yourself. That's why this is quite a tedious task. So we just select everything with A, press N, go into item, and then you can just disable this and crease. And then go ahead and okay, so we have all this data from the previous sharpening. We had all this mean bevel weight, mean crease, and then sharpen is basically if you're in edge mode, this is the sharpen. So just mark sharp. So just clear it. So these were these three options. So this one is mean crease, this one, and then B weight is actually this one, and then the sharp one. So and then seams, actually this one is just for UV unwrapping, so don't bother with this. We are going to be unwrapping it differently. So this sharp function right here is this one, mark sharp right here. So yeah, so then you would have to just go ahead and manually mark this. So just go ahead and click on it. Oh, we got some errors. Let's just save this just in case we get something similar to that again with the sound menu. So yeah, so now I just clicked once on it, then I held Alt and then clicked once again, and I selected the whole loop right here. So this is a Mesh Machine or Machine Tools, one of those add-ons. You don't need to just select it manually. This is a very good add-on. And then you just go ahead and mean bevel weight, boom, you just crank it up. That's our result. That's what we wanted. Now this isn't beveled, it's straight, and now all these edges around are beveled actually. You see? That's what we wanted. But now if we were to cut something else, you see, we would have to do the same thing. Just select it and again, just go ahead and select it and increase the mean bevel weight. So we got a lot of control with this one, but it's a little bit more additional work because you need to specify the angle still if you want to keep this on, so it adds automatically weighted normals. you would have to still specify here the angle, and that's basically just the same as running simply angle at like 30 degrees. Okay, so yeah, so in our case, it's usually best if you can get away, just use the angle. So that's what we're going to do. So let's just select everything and just N and just remove this mean bevel weight. And make sure that you don't have any kind of color. Just select A, make sure that this is 0, and then right click, make sure that you're in edge mode, because otherwise you won't see it, this menu. Right click and just clear sharp. You shouldn't see any color, blue, red, whatever. You can see this color is just inverted faces right here, errors, which we are going to fix soon. But first we want this edge to be picked up. So like I said, in this case it's just actually better to move this edge and make it not as sharp. So we specified here angle. Let's reduce it a little bit. I'm holding shift as well to reduce it in smaller increments. Now it's picking this up, but let's just select this edge right here and let's just kind of move it a little bit like this so it's not being picked up. It's kind of hard to get it, but we should manage. Boom. It's still not picking it up fully. Let me just go into side view and let's just choose that. Oh, like that. Is it better now? Choose that. So what we're trying to do now is leave this unbeveled and then make sure that this is actually going properly and it's being beveled. So it's not really working right now. We kind of want to reduce the amount of this. So basically go into side view and then just move it up a little bit like that. Something like this should actually work. GZ maybe a little bit more. And then GG twice quickly to maybe edge slide. Nope, doesn't seem to work. GX to move it in this direction. Okay, so it doesn't really want to work, which is annoying because we might need to run the weighted ones. Yeah, because you see this edge, it's so small as well, this one. It's very narrow. Okay, I guess weighted normal it is then. Just go ahead and click and then alt click. Mesh machine sometimes acts with this one. Make it into one, make sure that this is weight, and boom, we're good. All this is set. So we're in weight and we just selected weight ourselves manually. Okay, in this menu we just selected the edge. We just selected the edge and we increase the bevel weight. Okay, now, so that's that. So this is one type of error. The whole edge across not being picked up by the bevel. And now the other one is overlapping edges, like I said in here. They get overlapped. You remember I explained that this basically gets overlapped. To fix that, we can reduce this amount. One of the ways it fixes that, but I mean we need bigger bevel. This is not going to work. So we need something like this size of a bevel. It still doesn't work. So now go into edge mode, and what we are going to actually do is remove some edges. So let me just go into object mode and quickly disable this wireframe in here. So what is happening right now is this edge is getting overlapped. If you move it here, it disappears. See? Just move away all the edges that are overlapping like this. Like remember I explained this to you that this edge, this one was overlapping with this one. But now this one is away, you see, like this. It's overlapping. When we slide it away, it's not overlapping all of a sudden, you see? So this actually works. And yeah, so just go through the whole thing and kind of remove them. So right here, it's this one that gets overlapped, I think. Yeah. So in this case, we can just actually go ahead and merge this one to this one. I have the machine tools or mesh machine, one of the add-ons enabled, and I just select this one, then hold shift, select this one and press 1 next to the escape button. And this just gets rid of it. This is just the same thing. It's just an overlapping edge. Boom, just join it. These, we can just join all those three. Join these two. Join this one to this one to that one, and then this to this, and we're good. You see, again, we just go into object mode, and then yeah, that's looking good. So you don't need to have it perfect, but this is good enough. You won't see this. I mean, no one will notice this at all in game. So like that. Boom. You see? Now be very careful. You don't want to change this angle right here. So you see, let me just find a different error. Okay, we got something in here. So right now you see, if I'm merging something like this, I'm never changing the angle of this. So in this example, I never do something like this. I never take these and merge them to this one. You see, now this breaks this whole thing. I can't even select it. Yeah, you see, it's just ugly, nasty. It doesn't, our line, this blue line is just broken right now. We don't want to do that. We want to preserve it as it was. And we want to merge everything to this blue line. Like this, we want to preserve it. Here, you sometimes have these very near miss vertices. So you need to zoom in a lot to fix them. Or you actually can just go ahead and select everything and press 3. This is a mesh machine cleanup. One of the things that it does, it basically selects everything. And then if you press Alt N, actually Alt M, my bad, Alt M. No, it's just M. And then by distance, you see I even forgot the shortcut. By distance, it removes vertices, merges the vertices that are almost exactly on top of one another. So let's just do a test. I'll take these 3 edges, I'll just shift D to duplicate them like this, and then I'll just right click. So they just snapped back into this place. But now they are doubled right here, you see? They are doubled. If I select everything 3, it says, if you didn't catch that, it said, you see, 3 vertices removed right here. Removed 3 vertices. And the same thing with this. If you just select everything and then just M, by distance, it says here 3 vertices removed. So yeah, there we go. So we fixed the whole shading throughout the whole thing right here. We're good to go. There is actually another way of fixing it with tools and add-ons. Oh, actually we have something in here still. Let me just fix this thing. Yep, that's good. There is a way to fix all of that with tools and add-ons, but that's another topic. But yeah, that's basic idea of how you should fix this type of error. And remember that this is very difficult. I mean, this is as difficult as it gets. To understand how you cut something inside of a curved surface like this. This is a very complicated cut actually. Okay, and now we'll have a quite complex cut as well. We are going to be cutting this one in here, right here. And then we won't be cutting anything in here, but yeah, this cut right here. It's going to be a quite complicated cut as well. So let's go ahead and do it as well. There we go. So how do we approach this? Let's just go ahead and add, let's just do it manually. let's not use box cutter or hard ops, let's just do it manually. Or actually we can use that as well, it doesn't really matter. So just go into box cutter, go into this circle cut, and then roughly from the middle, actually now that I'm thinking about it, okay, that's actually just fine. If you keep the model in the center, just go ahead and kind of from the middle, start dragging it, hold Alt and Shift, and then just increase this to something like this, like it is there. Like this. And then S and then X, I believe it goes something like this a little bit more. And then S and then Y. I think it goes something like this and it's offset, so G, Y as well. Something like that, that's how it goes. Actually, no, let's just S to scale it a little bit more. That's how the cut goes. So right now I'm trying to position this cut right here. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to position this cut right here. The one that goes all the way around the mesh. And I can see that it's, if we just go into Blender, S. Okay, so, we just lost our cutter because I clicked off SX. So it goes almost like this. Okay, you actually don't need to be fully accurate with this, like I said, just roughly get it. It's fine. You're modeling an asset for a game, so speed is what matters the most. And now we actually don't want to cut out this whole chunk, we just want to give it some solidification. There are multiple ways to get this. Also, if you just press the... Okay, yeah, okay, so just go ahead and apply this cutter, just press enter, you see? We cut it through like that, and I'll show you this method. Just ever scroll, find this cutter, and then go ahead and click here, solidify. Boom. And now that's what we wanted right here. Do we have actually the back view? Let's see how the back looks like. Here, so it almost, it goes something like that, but still leaves a gap in here. So something like this is actually just fine. Just, yeah, that's just fine. Okay, so now just again, just Q and let's just change the solidification. Let's leave it at something like that. Boom. And now we see we got nasty shading again. It's very bad shading. God damn. So first of all, let's just position this. I want to rotate this actually, so it's kind of straight. G, yeah, just actually rotate this. Just rotate it in Y. Make it kind of straight like that. Boom. So that's what we want. I just pressed 1 to hide this. Okay, and now sadly again we are going to need to apply this because we need to access this all bad stuff. So just go ahead and select this and then control sharpen this. And yeah, you see, that's what we got. Now actually you can go ahead and separate these meshes as well, but I think there is no need for it. Here we go. And now let's just go ahead and select this one as well as this. Yeah, just this one, just click, single click, and then alt click this, maybe somewhere else right here. And now again we do need to go ahead and change this to 1, mean bevel weight to 1. And now Blender is going to be mad at us. Yeah, it's not that bad actually. I thought it would be worse. And just go ahead and do the same thing for all of the edges right here, this one as well, because remember we are beveling here. Oh, okay, so this got removed actually. If you think about it, okay, what the hell is this? What? Okay, that's weird. Why do we have this weird thing on the top? What? Let's just go in here, see. Okay. just go ahead and press SZ to scale it a little bit so it goes a little bit more down. Oh, here, that's why this, okay, we had to make it a little bit higher. So just straighten it again and just SZ to scale it on the top, like that. And then make the solidification a little bit smaller, something like that, just so it breaks the surface. Okay, now just sharpen this, and now there we go. But now you see this was removed actually. This got removed because we have this B weight and it's not set, and it was actually recalculated. So we need to actually maybe not don't sharpen this with control, just simply sharpen it. No, it won't work actually. Let me see here, modifiers. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, okay, now I remember. Yeah, it's basically, yeah, you will need to actually select this and just go ahead and redo this again like that. Just reselect it. That's really annoying. That's why I wanted to avoid this and just fix the other thing, but make it so that you could use the angle. But in this case, you will have to use the weight. I'm trying to select this whole edge. I'm just picking different starting points, finding which one will select the whole thing across. And just select this. And then the same thing at the bottom. Here it's way easier to select this edge. You don't need to select each one, you can just select both of them and just bevel them like this. So at the bottom here, if we disable wireframe, this is going to be perfect shading because it's a straight surface. So you don't need to do anything in there. But here at the top, you do need to fix some stuff in here. Again, this is missed word. Boom. There's one again. That looks fine. Now you can see a few here. And then here. Then here. Just basically fix them like I showed you before. Then we got one in here. Maybe just dissolve this one. This one, but we missed this one, so just add back the bevel weight to this one. Maybe just go ahead and slide this one so it's a little bit further, like that. And then this one is again a missed word. And then this one here, that one there. Just kind of go all the way around and just fix it. Like this. And now here again, don't forget that sometimes this gets lost, so you need to add your bevel back. This one, we can just slide it away. No, we cannot do that. Maybe this one, just slide this a little bit further away, like that. This one, let's just merge this one. That's fine. I think we're getting near the end. Like this. Also, I'm sometimes focusing while holding, so I hold Alt and middle mouse click somewhere on my mesh. So, and then I just get the center and then it starts rotating around that position. So if I want to rotate around this one, this vertex, I just hold Alt and middle mouse click on it, and then I just rotate. And it's going to, it'll be in the center of my screen. I'm going to rotate around this one. So that's what I usually do as well when I'm fixing something like this. Okay, there we go. So we just fix this, fix that. Okay, so I mean this tutorial it's a little bit difficult to start off. We started with a very difficult actually part, but if you learn this, I mean, it's one of the most complicated things. So yeah, I mean, you'll just be set. you'll be able to do anything, because this workflow is very powerful. Yeah, I'm just doing simple things right now. There is just nothing for me to add. Just don't forget to add bevel weight to this, and don't leave edges like that in the center. You need to join it somewhere. There has to be, so yeah, so like this. There was a vertex. You need to make sure that it has some edge going towards it. I believe, no, this doesn't fix it. Okay, yeah, so just select it and Control X to dissolve it. So for example, this one, it has this edge going to it. So then don't dissolve it. You can actually dissolve the whole thing then. Maybe the whole thing in here. It's fine then. Boom. Okay, I'm almost done actually. Okay, and here. Yeah, you need to zoom in a lot with these. And I'm going quite quickly through this. And you need to know how, I mean, you need to get used to all the navigation as well. If you're not used to navigating, it's going to take you way longer. But I mean, that's fine. If it takes you longer, that's fine. Boom. So we went the whole way around. But now I'm seeing that you can kind of see these faces right here, these kind of edges right here, and they're kind of sharp like this. So what we could have done was we could have just added more subdivisions to this one, to this cutter that we used previously. That just basically adding more subdivisions like this in here in the center and just making sure that everything is round would have worked. But I mean, that's fine again, because it's a game model and we need to reduce the amount of polygons as much as possible. So this is actually just fine. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be viewing it from this distance, so it does not matter actually. Okay, so I just noticed that I was modeling in this viewport shading, so that's fine. You can just model in this one. Yep, so there we go. Actually, we got the base done right now. This area is done. We can add the buttons right now as well. So let's just do that. And the bottom will be finished. Or actually, you know what? This episode is quite long, so let's go ahead and wrap things up in here. Next episode, we're going to be adding these buttons right here, as well as we're going to be adding this part right here. And then this will be a little bit easier. I mean, everything is going to be easier from now on, so so yeah, bear that in mind, that if you are here, if you reach this part, you're basically that's your reward. The rest of the model will be quite easy actually. Maybe this part will be a little bit more difficult, but it's still nothing as complicated as this was. Okay, so there we go. So we got this. Make sure that you save the file. Make sure that everything is saved right here. So you'll get these types of saves. These are actually those temporary files right here. So don't even bother with them. It's just fine. You get these saves as well. Okay, there we go. So yeah, that's what we got. So the side view, comparison, looking good. Okay, yeah. So I hope you reached this far, and see you in the episode 3. See ya, guys.